Adina, Hinvosina, LA, Abram, Elisa, Yaakov, Elago, Gibra, LA, and Balatim, Tevican, Closer, Hasilis, maybe both, maybe name, Lamat, Abamel, Closer, Mashiach, and Barakata, Adina, again, Abram, Gibra, Madina, Hamis, Ratabush, Mashibaro, committed to get from Pipeline, Catherine, Rabbi, Rabbi, Simic, Cosmic, River, Salamat, Kamin, solution, for me, Givers, Umida, Melach, Misum, and Hayamat, make you sure, and I'm on a fellow Hayat, Mason, Barakata, Adina, Haya, Mason. ציין לדבר על יד קדש הקדש הקדושים יכולים יהלו חסל ברכתו עדיני על הקדש ראינו לאדם דאז מלמד לדש בינה ונמית חכמה בינה ודאז ברכתו עדיני ראינו דאז שיבינו מלצר סך בקרבנו מכינו לעבד סך לעזינו בתשובה שלם ופנח ברכתו עדיני הרייצה בתשובה סלחנו מנקי חתנו ומפלנו מכין כיבשנו כי ילתו וסלחת ברכתו עדיני חנו נמר בלסויה ראינו בנים רבים נבלים מחיר למש מחכה לגו חזקות ברכתו עדיני Goya, Israel. I know I didn't have an interpretation of what she had kissed with him. Havali, or for Shalem, a couple of center come up for an eman of Rakata, Dina, right there, I'm Israel. Very Polino, Adinalino, as such as the best community of us, was in Palmata of Rakha, them up submitting to the Favorek, and in Kashanim of those Rakha. Kialto made to Patam of Kashanim Rakata, Dina, Megari, Ashanim, the Kabish of a location within a Kabit, Gillis, and a Cotinia had made a conquest or Rakata, Dina. Kabitin Ama Israel. She became the coverage of Yatsi, the last many younger men of Mine Father and Alvat, Nasir of Saraka Mishwar Pata, Dina, Malak, Saraka Mishwar. Amashini Malak is a couple of minimum same for a video play. I'm from your grace with Malkus, Rachel, Mary Soccer, the Travers, Margaret Safnia, and here women Pata, Dina, Gavin Mapnia Stadium. They came out, City Malkin, Al Bisra, but I'll pull that specific, I'll give it to the goal in Yamunur Mahadina, and you can start the Baitem Bishima Bamet, Simokinu Mam Loni Vashki, Kapatapna Burkata, Dina, Nishan Mikla Sadikim, Shalamir, Prahamitashi, Sishkan, Visakashiri, Visit of the Abdul Kamir, Bisakatavin, Venesa, the Carter, Bian Island, Burkata, Dina, and Shalim. Estimate of the Abdul Kamir, Tasme, the Carnet, and Mishra, Kiljo, Sakiminikoya, Burkata, Dina. Atsmiach in Yeshua. Makalino, Adelino, Abraham, Rachim, Lena, Bakabil, Braham, Brasin, Estitos, and Kioshamea to Zafanini Mata, Milpanakam, Alkinrikam, Alkishvina, Kiatashami, Atavas, Kulebro, Pata, Dina, Shemea, Tila, Tia, Adelino, Plays Revolution, Eva Hashim, Highway to Verbis, Israel, let's go some Avas, Kaba Rusin, it's a healer Rusin, Tommy the way this is Israel Machabata, then you never shoot Philatian, Barachim, Barapata, Dina, I'm not like there's Shina Salatian. Surfing again, she had to hold over there and on his house to Safa Al Hain of Serbia that one. We didn't feel so funny. He said, "You want to follow the sexual air like it's all right." I thought, "Kill a father, come back." I'm Rahim, kill his son, because that's a community, you know, I call him is very bitter. Shim walking to come in a little bit before I mean, those of y'all shim how go Loyal and Kita, Kelly short in resisting to sell all type of Fata, Dina, affection, follow Hana Laida. Trying to I mean, because the Rahim only because Ramaka, even if one of the Akhabir, Kiver, Nasalanu. I do not know if there is kind of a stock of Rafa, Rahim, time shown with the Benefal Berk, as some place Rebel, Ace of a Flush Rabbi Shabaka Berk, I thought, you know, I heard at some age Rabbi Shalim. The interesting is actually one of my American Shame had never shown them are. It's been a relation of all of Berk Mojamaka Watson, Kapir Alpha, they send him a match of Maka, he's got all these college, Maraba, the Yamla City, City, we're going to become a shake. It's been making a kind of with your Bagola, his one curry, Kim Raman. Why is Barry? Shadows, Bird, Sam Sassi, said, Derby, Sally, Tolosh, me, picture before. Well, capacity, trust, passing the Wasadam, you're beyond Raman. Scala doesn't of us come over to Akadem and Gishmai, Raman. It's not how we mention my the Kayim, Tavin, Israel, Raman. I just remember up, you have to find my place, Raman. Never really I don't know how colors by MOE and I had this my thought.
Amen. After davening, we have our annual Jewish book sale over here. We have the honor of hosting, and lucky he makes the trip all the way for us. So we should buy books, especially during the month of Teves, Mirhei Teves, so we could buy books and everything. Alright, so today Jewish history. Today's learning Nishmas Sheva Bas Shmuel Yehudis, who funeral was just finished an hour ago, and now it's the first Kaddish being said before her neshama. Today is the anniversary of Purim of Prague. City of Prague, like every city, had its own. They made claims that a Jewish person that the curtains of the palace were stolen. They said it was, of course, it was the Jews' fault, and because we stole it, all the Jews of Prague were going to be killed, and through a big miracle, we were spared, and the city of Prague would celebrate every single year the 23rd. So it goes on. 22nd, sorry, 22nd of Teves, they would celebrate it as the Purim of Prague. The Torah tells us same thing. So that was in 1623. Italy had their own Purim story in 1798, the same day. The Torah tells us that whenever a miracle happens to us personally, to our family, we should remember it. And here was the whole community. Every community that has such a miracle that happened supposed to commemorate every year. So that's why the community of Prague would celebrate every single year, 22nd of Teves, and the whole country of Italy would celebrate the 22nd of Teves as the day Hashem saved them from being destroyed. Tonight's the yard site of Nathan Strauss. Who is Nathan Strauss? I don't know if they Strauss Piano. I don't know if it's the same company, but ANS, Macy's of blessed memory. Macy's is done, right? They're closing all their stores now.
Oh yeah.
That's what I heard. I mean, there were a few times it was the news. Huh? That's what they said now. But Macy's was originally ANS. ANS was Abraham and Strauss. Strauss was Nathan Strauss. It's actually two Strauss brothers, and they were both very proud Yidden, and they gave a tremendous amount of tzedakah. And actually, the brother, Nathan's brother, his brother's name, I forget right now. Huh? Levi Strauss, the same company, I think, also. The same company? Levi, the same company, I think, right? Same family.
Yeah, they went to San Francisco.
Titanic. Yes, the brother passed away on the Titanic. Yeah, the brother passed away on the Titanic. He was. They were both visiting Eretz Yisrael. In fact, the city Netanya is named after Nathan Strauss, who's your tonight. So
they're closing more stores.
Closing more stores. Okay.
Yes.
That one. Brick and mortar stores are to reinvent yourself otherwise. Anyways, Nathan Strauss stayed on. His brother left. They went on a trip to Israel, and they did whatever they had to do over there. They saw the sightseeing, and they also gave a lot of tzedakah. And they went. His brother went back. Him and his wife said, we have to stay longer. This people need our help over here. And they were giving tremendous. They were going everywhere, giving tzedakah to see how they could help more. And the brother came back on the Titanic and passed away earlier. And tonight's his yard site, 1931, is Sham Shav Aliyah. Tonight is also the anniversary of the expulsion of the Jews from Portugal, 1496. After Spain, Portugal.
Opted for that too.
Yeah, so many people were killed over there in Sham Shav Aliyah. All right, so in the middle of learning about the laws of a masis. Masis is someone who doesn't just do avodah zarah, idolatry themselves, but they also convince others to do idolatry. We learned about Dachas, the city of wayward city, and this is someone who convinces other people to do sins. Shulchan Aruch tells us that this law of masis doesn't just apply to idolatry, but God forbid any sin. If we convince another person to do a sin, it could be something which is not a big deal. We say it's not a big deal. It should never be compared. But if we, let's say, convince someone they should talk middle of Kaddish, something that's obviously the wrong thing to call middle of Kaddish. But one thing we do it ourselves, but we convince others to do it. The Shulchan Aruch says we have to be very careful not to do that because not obviously because it's not considered a masis, but it goes under that category of a masis. Says either Rasha, either Shreinai. Right? Woe is to the wicked person and woe is to their neighbor. Because not just does the wicked person do things themselves they shouldn't do, but they also convince their neighbors to do something wrong. And so we find in Kairach not just did he do himself something wrong, but also his neighbors wound up joining him. Don't say lahavdil, but an influencer. That's right. Not just did Moshe Rabbeinu great in Torah, but also says the whole tribe the whole shevet that's encamped next to him, Yisachar. Yisachar also became big Talmidei Chachamim because they encamped next to Moshe Rabbeinu. So because Mishnah tells us not just woe is to a rasha, a wicked person, and woe is to his neighbor, but also great is the tzaddik and great is to his neighbor. And so we should always try to pick. We see if someone is convincing us to do the wrong thing. Hashem gave us the freedom to choose. We could choose our friends. Can't choose our relatives, but we can choose our friends. And so we have to choose who we hang out with and who we don't hang out with. Someone tells us the wrong thing. We clearly have to move on. Pick a new set of friends. Obviously, they don't have our best interest in mind. We were learning regarding a masis. We said that it says that you're not allowed to try to protect the masis, help them. When it comes to court, you can't try to. Usually, we try to find schus as a merit, but by masis we're not supposed to try to find merit. If someone is chayte or machtes or rabbim, someone's a sinner, but they also make others sin. We don't try to find merit for them. Not just that, but the halacha takes it further. The Torah tells us that what happens if you're walking on the street and you see an animal of your enemy who has a burden on top of them, and it's not the animal. Obviously, it schleps. That's what it does for a living. The animal, but now it's not even. It's lopsided, and when it's lopsided, it doesn't go right. Right? It's our time. You have a backpack from school. Okay? You have a backpack, right? And it's not properly adjusted. You break your back. And so the Torah tells us that even though it's your enemy's donkey, you're supposed to azav tazav imo. You have to help out the donkey. You have to help the burden. However, there's only one place the Torah tells us we should not help that donkey, and that is the donkey of a mesis. Someone who is a chayto machtas rabim, someone that's a sinner and also makes others sin. Even their animal suffers. Not just do they suffer, and their neighbor, what was the wicked person, what was the neighbor? Not just the neighbor suffering, even their animals suffer. So it's the only place that we have that we don't protect the animal, because the animal is such a person. So we have to be careful that we shouldn't say we're all influencers.
It's funny how Balaam's donkey protected him.
Yeah.
And I don't think there'll be anybody
Wicker than Balaam. Yeah. Here. Yeah. The halacha is that the Bezdin, the court, gives capital punishment to a mesis. Someone who's an influencer in a bad way, court gives capital punishment. So not just is there we do this capital punishment, but actually afterwards that the Rambam tells us that they would have to go around and announce that this is what happened to someone who was a bad influencer, and this is what happens to them. To make it known, to put it in all the papers. What happens if everybody else who is an influencer? Also, we don't have to follow. You don't have to follow the Joneses. Don't follow the Joneses. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Like we know, Avram Avinu was also called Avram Ivri. Why would you call Avram Ivri? Ivri, he was the Hebrew, right? The Hebrew. Ivri means on the other, me'aver. He was on the other side. Everybody was on one side, and he was on the other side. So everybody was an influencer. Everybody had a TikTok account. The whole and he was the only one without an account. He was the only one non-influencer. We know, of course, that he was the real influencer.
Yeah.
But just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that we have to be. Shulchan Aruch tells us the first halachas of Shulchan Aruch. It tells us al yevai shetnei maligim. We shouldn't be embarrassed in front of those that make fun of us. So those are going to be those that make fun of things, and we don't have to be affected by them. And it says that we should think of someone that's just mocks everything, a mocker. We should think of them as a mesis. It says we should think of them, and a mesis's end is a very harsh end. So if someone, obviously, we don't take the law into our own hands, and it's not mamish a mesis. We don't consider them, but someone who has a bad influence in anything, says another person. If you're a mocker, you have to think of them as a mesis. That's our thought has to be keep them and to think of them as the Yetzer Hara. Yeah, very possible. All right, Maariv, page 118. So you have Yahadus? Yahadus set you have? Yahadus. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Get an Amazon probably. Page 118, Maariv. Who wants to be Chazan? All right, Shalom Lev, you were voted in. It's a democratic country. Page 118. Hurrah. Amém. 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 Amen. If anyone does not like American history, there's no reason you should have an American history book in your house, because if you don't enjoy it, no one kind of likes it, there's no reason to have it. When it comes to Jewish books, however, even if you have no clue what it's saying, there is an idea of having Bayis Malei Sfarim, a house filled with Jewish books, even if you're completely clueless about it. And so, it's a good idea for everyone to fill up their home with Jewish books. Shalom. Welcome. Did you have for a while? Shalom, okay. Maybe around? No. Oh, maybe around? No, not yet. Okay. Okay. Food. You ready? Tonight? So to buy groceries or to buy takeout or to buy.
So I need both. I need the grocery.
So yeah, like you have both the cars. So this. How are you? You.
What's your name? Mendelbaum. What's your name? Cohen. David Liebman. I'm from Detroit.
Good to meet you. Got a couple cousins here, Mendelbaum.
Yeah, and,
Shragi, that's a cousin. First one, Shragi's son,
Shragi
and also
Shmooky.
Smokey.
They're my cousins. They're my
Yeah.
uncles.
They're your uncles. So,
My
yeah.
uncles, yeah. Where you from?
I'm here 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, grew up in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Smokey was in Berkeley, California for 10 years. Now I'm here 35. Married a Miami girl, so
Ernest, where do you usually daven?
Space Mountain. That's Miami Beach.
Oh, okay.
You're on Short Series?
Yeah.
My youngest son's in Detroit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
What's his first name?
Chaim. You know him?
I'm Cohen.
Here, I'll show you a picture. Sure, second year there.
I did learn in Detroit, Minnesota, but it's been many years
Yeah,
since I was
this
there
is only
for.
second year.
Every time I go home, I go
Right,
visit. You know, I see new faces, but I don't catch everybody.
What's your father's name?
Really?
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes. That's.
So far, so good.
He closes at 8 o'clock.
You're the only one.
There's another guy, Mukti. He's out of town right now, but yeah, primarily we teach Hebrew school.
Right. Right.
The guy is group is right. Okay, so Saturday closes at 9 o'clock. When Dixie closes at 11. Three. Kosher Kingdom, Saturday closes. Kosher Kingdom is more like an American kosher supermarket that does everything. Saracen is more really. Yeah, and Saracen, I mean, when Dixie is like the shop right. Just have a double section. It's right next to each other. The wall between the trade and next to it. Some people like it better because, you know, in these kosher supermarkets, they're private owners. So private owners, you can have all type of in a place like this, they can't afford to make them store. So that's as far as things like pizza, things like that. Both have pizza shops inside of it as well. But there's also a place. A bunch of places. So, Leishik, you have Leishik, like spicy or canonical. Closer. So again, both fields supermarkets have takeout. What is this is right over here. Here's Sarah's name. Same cloud as it is over there. Spicy.
Maybe you can get out from my side.
Another very pricey place. Yeah.
Sure.
No. Maybe. The guy down the block who had his house in the shop. Makeshift. We have it here. There's also a candidate for on the block. But here, it's get on some 20130. There's like a proper bargain. 20130. 26 Northeast.
Everything changed from your bit.
26.
Yes.
2310. 2310. So it's mamish on this block over here. You're going down. You're going by car. 2 minutes down. One block past the main road. Across the street. You're facing the house. It's on the right side of the house. I think the second door on the right side. It says the sign on the door. Mikvahs are inside.
There's a sink outside.
Okay. Yeah.
Founder and built by the founder and built by the label by the.
What's your, how many is it on here? 20.
What is it?
21. First game,
Ah,
not
okay.
Zion, I love it. Here's some-
The madhouse here is already around 20 years.
Everything is inside.
And the community here has grown.
Yeah.
Preschool. That's the problem. It's public school, it's public school.
This came up, he did it only on the Shkodoch, which is only
So we have the older kids, and we have public school, high school, kids that go to public school. Otherwise, this issue is, Mamish is there, we take our kids.
20 minutes away.
15 miles,
All right, fine.
yeah. Go, kids, so my kids go to 2,000 kids.
I think
2,000 kids? We live in the Brooklyn school.
2,000 kids. But at least you have 2,000 kids.
the guest height of the box.
Plus, it gets a high
LEC.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Ganz, Git Cornet, this is the greatest
Yeah.
music in the Robert in ganz Amerika.
Yeah?